Hello, welcome to More Faith with Kisha. My first name is Kisha and my last name is Moore. And on this channel, we talk all things, most things, faith. I love to give my faith testimonies to motivate, inspire, and to encourage you to keep your faith in your dreams, in your goals, in your aspirations, and most importantly, to keep your faith in God because He is the one who will bring it to pass. So today I want to talk about the question, can God use you? Can God still use you if you were promiscuous? Can God use you if you were in fornication? Were keywords, if you were, right? So what I'm saying is your past life. So stay focused. Can God use you if you were a drunkard, if you were a thief? Can God use you if you were once in a life of sin? And I would say, yes, God can still use you because your testimonies, right, of how God delivered you and how you overcame all of those things, those dirty little deeds that you were doing behind closed doors, but you're no longer doing because you're walking with the Lord, that your testimony can encourage somebody else to leave their life of sins. I know some people I talk to, they feel like they don't even want to stop doing what they're doing because God can't even use them. Like they did too much dirt, too much filth, too many, grimy things that they did that people don't even know about. And all they can see is their flaws and their sins, and they think that God cannot use them. But if you give your testimony about how you used to be and how God delivered you and how you overcame, being a drug addict, how you overcame being promiscuous, how you overcame, fornicating, whatever it is, like your testimony can help encourage others. And if you are in a season where you're feeling like, you know what, there's a lot of things that God has delivered you from, but you don't want to talk about it because it's embarrassing. It's not God who reminds us of those things. It's us who keeps reminding ourselves of how we used to be and what we used to be and how God is not going to use us and how we can't talk about it because we're embarrassed and we don't want people to know. But don't feel that way. Like, be encouraged to know that God can still use you no matter what it is that you did in your life. Like if you are now walking with the Lord and you left those things behind you, that is in the past, right? And the only time you usually bring up the past is when it's going to be used to encourage others. Let people point the finger and say, yes, that was the girl that used to be promiscuous. And then you can say, you know what? Yeah, I used to be that way, but let me tell you what God did for me. Let me tell you what God did through me. Let me tell you how I've been cleansed and washed through the blood of Jesus and how I left my sins and how I've been, abstinent or celibate or whatever it is for 10 years, or how I'm now married and I have a husband and I have children. Yes, let them bring up the past so that you can use that as an example of how God can heal and cleanse you, right? The devil is the accuser of the brethren. He is the one who wants to point the finger and constantly remind us of how we are not qualified. But let me tell you something. God calls the unqualified because He qualifies them when He changes them, when He renews their mind. So it's not us, it's God who qualifies the unqualified. There has been so many times in my life where I felt like I wasn't worthy to do certain things because I didn't graduate from high school. I dropped out of high school at the age of 17. At the age of, I think, 20 years old, I went back to get my GED. I got my bachelor's degree at the age of 33, right? So, I felt like I wasn't qualified because I felt like I was a late bloomer, educational wise, So I didn't graduate like, oh, I don't want people to know this and that. Like, no, I didn't do all those things, when everybody else did it, but I did it later in life. So there's somebody out there that may feel like, you know what, I didn't graduate from high school. I'm 40, I'm 50 years old, or I want to go back to school to get my bachelor's degree. When I give my testimony of how I went back and finished what I started, that can encourage somebody else. So yes, God can use me to speak into the lives of others regarding education, even if I didn't do it when the world said that I should have did it or accomplished it. So I feel like I'm going on a rant, but you get what I'm saying. I just want to encourage you to know that God can use you in any area of your life and any season of your life and wherever you are. If you are divorced and God has called you to speak into the lives of others regarding marriage, because God has given you new revelation of how to do it God's way, and people can learn from the mistakes that you have made. Yes, you are qualified, because God qualifies the unqualified. Just because we made mistakes in our lives, it doesn't mean that we can't speak into the lives of others. The things that I've been through and the mistakes that I've made, I've learned from my mistakes, and others can learn from the mistakes that I've made. They don't have to follow in the path of the same mistakes that I've made. I know sometimes people feel like, well, if you've experienced these things and you did these things, like I need to live my life, I need to experience it. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's so many things that I've done, and I wish I had somebody to tell me not to do it. I wish I had someone to tell me, save yourself for marriage, right? Because, committing soul ties and all those things, if you don't know how to fight that off, if you don't know how to pray, fast, and fight in the spirit, like those things kind of like follow you. And it can, affect future relationships if you will let it. So, yes, you are qualified. Yes, God can use you. Yes, your testimony can be someone else's deliverance. Yes, yes, yes. Don't be discouraged. Don't feel like you are unworthy. Don't let people point the finger and tell you and remind you of your past and all these things that you did. Flip the script, flip it around on them. I wish somebody would come to me and try to point out some of the things that I've done in the past. Bring it up. And I'm going to tell you what God did and how I got to the season that I am in right now, where I'm walking with the Lord and I'm no longer doing those things. Let them bring it up. Don't back down. Don't back down when they want to pull up a picture when you were holding a bottle. Don't back down when they want to pull up the picture when you were, had the blunt in your hand. Don't back down. Use those things as a testimony to help others get to where God has you at in this season, and so that they can clean up their lives as well. So, the moral of the story is, yes, God can still use you. Yes, God qualifies the unqualified. And no, your life and your background does not have to be perfect for ministry. That's a possibility why God has called you to ministry. So stay blessed, stay encouraged, and let God use you. Bye.